Hi everyone, it's Rob Watson, the module leader for TECH3022 Social Media Practice, and this is the final video introduction of 2017 because it's the 11th lecture which takes place the week before the Christmas break, and I'm sure that we're all going to be eager to get away and have some time out. So what's this one about? Well, this is about we're starting to shift now into thinking about how we can apply and use principles of social media in developing our campaign for against sugar and carbohydrates, and if we can use social media to shift and change people's understanding, values, perceptions, behaviours, those kind of things. So based on the research that you've been doing and are finishing off in the last week, what is it that what model of media might we use that helps us to plan for a media campaign in the future after Christmas in 2018. So what we'll talk about this week is the kind of spreadability model, which is the one that's put forward by Henry Jenkins, Ford and Green, discusses the idea that media circulates in different ways and that there are traditional models of media which have dominated: the transmission model, the viral model, the broadcast model, the transaction kind of model. But what Jenkins, Ford and Green argue is that actually the media, in contrast to what they call the stickiness model, is social media is more about spreadability and the idea that you exchange and transfer content and ideas and meanings through and with media, and that they travel across our culture, as Jenkins said. So for Henry Jenkins, what he says is that spreadable media is king, that which we can recommend, that which we can engage with, that which we can link with other products and services and activities, and it isn't just media that we stare at and put our eyeballs in front of, but it's something that we use. Now, my suggestion would be that media has always been like that. It's just the media theorists who have argued differently about it and have used different models and frameworks for this. But let's run with this while we can, I suppose. So what Jenkins, Ford and Green talk about is that social media and successful social media products and successful social media communicators, they found their activity on a meaningful participation. So the sense that people find something that they engage with, that they find a connection with, that it gives them a sense of identity, a sense of belonging, a sense of possibilities, and that you can use that media in order to exchange and do other things and to secure access to other resources or to follow other lines of action. So it's no longer just something which is locked into the tram lines, if you like, but it's something that can be used in many different ways and kind of spread around, quite literally. So we'll contrast this with kind of models of corporate and grassroots media, and we'll look at the idea that this signifies or gives us a sense that there is a kind of participative media culture that this taps into, and that the kind of notion of spreadability is just one part of how we travel around, or the concepts that we facilitate through our media travel around the kind of media landscape. So we tend to look at media in terms of account for media in terms of its metaphors, and these metaphors are, we still use them. So Jenkins, Ford and Green use the stickiness and the spreadability metaphor, but they explain that using this metaphor allows us to understand media in a different way than it would be if it was undertaken in the old models, using the old language and the old metaphors. So there's a kind of migration and flow of ideas and meanings between people, and this results in a model of media which is decentralized, where there's no kind of central hub or control that things have to be articulated through, but that what they do is that the meanings are dispersed, and that there's a diversification of meaning development and cultural production, and that the kind of pre-structured and pre-cooked think of the ready meal as our model. You know, the pre-cooked processed food. This is where the metaphor really makes an impact, I think. You know, we can think of our media on the one hand as being a series of pre-cooked and we just microwave them up, we just heat them up messages, or we're making and crafting our own and sharing it within our own communities and our own networks. And in a world where kind of what were once previously scarce resources now allow us to, you know, there's an abundance of media, an overflow of media that we need to make sense of, then verification of the authenticity of the media that we use is ever more important. So this fits in with the kind of ideas of network culture that Jenkins, Ford and Green ties into. And, you know, we can look at things like the viral message campaign and the meme. We can look at that and we can ask questions about how, you know, to what extent do these suggest that the audience is active in the co-development and co-production of the meanings that are associated with what we share online through social media. So it kind of fits in with a concept of media which is based around value and meaning, and the question would be to what extent is that predicated on the agency of the people involved, the creativity of the people involved, the independence of the people involved, and how much of that is, if you like, imposed on people by, you know, kind of mighty marketing campaigns, propaganda campaigns, and so on. So there's a couple of questions we'll ask. You know, it's kind of, you know, what's our experience of using encountering spreadable media or text, media artifacts that spread. You know, how easy is it to make something that spreads? And, you know, kind of what do we need to do to, you know, what does spreadability look and feel like? So these will be good questions for us to consider over the Christmas break, reinforced with the reading that's expected through the module and in the run-up to the last piece of coursework, which is the academic report that you'll be undertaking. So the notes for this are up on the DMU Commons wiki at wiki.hour.dmu.ac.uk. Just search for the TECH3022 section, and hopefully, should we, I don't know, mince pies and things like that? You know, maybe, don't know, we'll see. All right, see you at the lecture.